week's Three Legs, Four Wheels F1-ish podcast. It's Paul here with...
Sean.
Chris.
Lee.
We have been doing shows for the last few months, but unfortunately we left them to Hermes to deliver, so we've actually had to take it on ourselves now. Topical humour?
Yes, apart from the fact they're not called Hermes anymore.
Yeah, it's not that topical.
Yeah. No, like the song goes, every time you go away, you take my parcel back to the depot with you.
Yes.
That's not true. Sometimes they leave them in bins. Sometimes they just leave them in the garden. Sometimes they leave them in rabbit hutches.
Yeah, sometimes they leave them in their own car and just drive off again.
This looks like an iPad.
But I worked with a guy who was not, how should I say it, not local, not from the United Kingdom, and when he was getting a parcel delivered and the Hermes were delivering it, he got he got the message to say that it was delivered and it hadn't been delivered. So his outburst at this company was fucking Herms.
Anyway, aside from that, kind of Happy New Year, I guess. And Happy Christmas as well. We were going to do a show over Christmas, but then we all got
It's
flown.
like the 8,000th of January, so
Yeah, and it's still another 3 years until payday.
yeah.
It's awful, isn't it?
You want to try having a birthday in the middle of January. Everyone's either skint or doing dry January. It's like, let's go out, let's have a night out, let's party.
Let's not.
Can't. Can we do your half birthday in June instead?
I think either side of Christmas would be pretty bleak, wouldn't it? If you get a birthday too close to Christmas, then you kind of don't get a birthday because it's like, oh, we'll double up on your present and get you a really nice one for Christmas.
We'll hand this over to our December birthday correspondent.
Yep, can confirm. Literally no lies have just been told.
I work with a guy whose birthday is on Christmas Eve, and he absolutely hates it.
Yeah, you would.
I think July as a July birthday. I think July is the birthday sweet spot in the middle of the year.
Yeah, as August birthday, I would agree
Yeah.
that summer birthday, Christmas in the winter is the way to do it.
The other challenge I had with my birthday, not this year, last year, as it is now, was that it was the day of all the ice. So I had to drive into town to collect my yards of pasty for the office, as is the Manx tradition, in
Yep.
ice. And it's like, I work up a hill that has one of those signs that tells you there's percentage in the incline, and it was fun.
You don't just work on it; you live
Well,
on
I live
it
on
as
it
well.
as well, but yeah, I'm just trying to set the scene for the listener. But yeah, it was literally like going down a ski jump slope, and
Yeah,
I did not enjoy it.
and then trying to come back up it again as well. The other
Coming
side.
back up, it actually wasn't too bad. At no point did I think I was just going to sort of glide into a roundabout coming up it,
fair
which was
enough.
how I thought the exit of the hill was going to end. But yeah, that was not enjoyable. That does not happen in the summer. You don't have to do an
No.
icy pasty run in the summer.
I actually do know someone who's got it just as bad in the birthdays in winter. Someone I used to work with, her birthday's right at the start of April, and she complained that for years as a kid she got Easter eggs for her birthday every year.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, that is a problem. That's not a sort of birthday presenty gift.
And while I'm on the subject, Christmas-related Christmas gifts. You know, I've got you a Christmas bear for Christmas.
Great. What do I do with it after today?
You know,
I've always found that weird. I've got given a couple of Christmas jumpers.
Yeah,
On
Christmas
Day.
jumpers. This was like, here's a jumper you
It's
can
too
wear
late
now.
on Christmas Day.
Yeah, either wear it now or in 12 months.
yeah. Did anyone go big on the hideous Christmas jumpers this year?
I've not got a hideous Christmas jumper. I've got a Christmas jumper which is legitimately my favourite jumper, and it's got like it's like a red jumper with a load of hipster Santas on it. And if it wasn't for the fact that the snowflakes involved, I'd wear that anytime.
How can you tell if it's a hipster Santa? He's got a long beard to begin with.
He was the original
Because a couple of them
hipster.
have got monocles.
Oh,
Right.
Wow.
Okay. Right. Okay. I will give you that.
But yeah, no, I basically from probably the last week in November up until maybe a week and a half ago, I fucking lived in that thing.
fair enough.
You couldn't be asked doing any washing again, could you?
No, electric's so expensive.
It's got to be said, when we did have like the cold spell in the run up to Christmas, Christmas jumpers proved very handy. They are generally quite thick.
Oh,
It's like
right.
they're a good standard of jumper.
I have a funny story to tell you. It is slightly, ever so slightly on the gross side,
Excellent.
but not graphic.
Is this normal, decent, civilized member of society gross or Lee gross?
No, normal, decent, like member of society gross. No, yeah, it's not. I don't think it's gross. I think it's breakfast.
Excellent.
So over the Christmas period, I went for a poo, and
As I'm sure many people did.
Strong start.
and like obviously after I'd had my poo, I decided I had to wipe my bum because otherwise
Good
you
move.
smell. Yeah. So I sort of did the reach round to wipe my bum, and thought I was devastated because I thought over Christmas I'd put on so much weight that I couldn't wipe my bum anymore, and I couldn't get my hand round to do it. And there was a brief moment where because I actually thought I've actually lost a little bit of weight over Christmas, and I was that distressed for about a minute and a half until I realised what had happened was I'd been outside in the garden doing something, and I had 5 woolly jumpers on. I wish that story was
Nice.
just for comedy effect, but it's 100% true.
I had a horrible feeling when you started that story. We were heading for a pooey Christmas jumper sleeve.
No. I wouldn't do that to my favourite jumper.
Moving swiftly onwards.
Yes. So, off-season Formula One news. Obviously, the big story is probably James Vowles going to Williams as the new team principal.
Yeah, that was a kind of bolt out of the blue, wasn't it?
He wasn't on the list, was he?
No,
Let's
it
be
wasn't-
honest.
it wasn't
Everybody had
rumoured.
everyone else on the list. Nobody had James Vowles on the list.
No, 'cause, he's never sort of made out that he was looking to progress to that kind of role.
It's so
you think
rare as well, isn't it? Like in this day and age, that someone is actually in the job before you've kind of even heard that it's rumoured. Like they kept it quiet.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't even any speculation. It's like Capito's gone and everything went quiet, and the next thing,
Here's the new guy.
oh,
It makes like Capito go and feel a bit better, because that it seemed a bit bleak, didn't it, at first?
yeah. I mean, that was a bit of a shock with him retiring.
Do we think he did retire or was he retired?
Well, he came out of retirement to do the job in the first place, so he's kind of re-retired. Sorry, I'm dealing with a unmentionable animal.
Retired. When the crowd says Jost, Capito.
Hopefully, he was involved in the rehiring, in the hiring of a successor, and that was part of his job.
Yeah, it could have been. I mean, that would make it a sort of smoother transition if he was part of the team that chose the next guy. And also the other Williams thing, they've had to officially deny that they're being bought out by Porsche. That was all this afternoon. Insert jump cut here.
Hang on a second. To go back literally to what I was just saying. Let's do a rewind. And
Hey!
this is all to do with McLaren at the end of 2022 terminated their strategic partnership with Gulf Oils, which produced that wonderful Monaco livery and, of course, a couple of ranges of merch just for them to charge £95 for a hoodie.
and the header banner on our website.
Yes, and also which has been there since the Monaco livery.
Yeah, but I don't think we paid for that, did we?
No, we didn't.
No.
No, it's just there. Anyway, the partnership was ended with McLaren, and then Gulf tweeted during this last week that of a silhouette of a Formula One car leaving a pit lane, something like, "Ooh, get excited. Exciting news is coming, something like that. It's like, oh, Gulf are clearly teaming up with a Formula One team. Who's it going to be? Now, earlier that day in the Middle East, there were news reports that McLaren and Gulf had re-signed, renewed their partnerip. So it looked like
re-sign.
Re-sign. Yeah, I'm not quick enough to come up with a thing for that. But then we heard that rumor.
That was me firing. That was me firing an air duster at a cat to try and get it off a shelf, which is full of Sean's driving trophies.
That was so loud.
I know, but it worked. It scared the cat off.
Goodness me, it scared me.
Handy hint for cat owners.
So then we
compressed
see then we saw the Williams rumor. I don't know who even started the Williams rumor. Was it Automoto and Sport that started breaking the news?
Do you know what? I have seen it all over the place. So
yeah,
I feel like
I think it was.
Yeah,
I think it was Automoto and Sport said it was going to be something to do with a big reveal involving some historic sponsorship, and I think a lot of people put two and two together and was just like, it's Gulf. Williams and Gulf are getting together, and then obviously Porsche. I don't know how they got involved in the mix, but it's interesting because Porsche and Gulf have that history together. The Gulf livery that everybody loves first appeared on a Porsche, I believe, in either the late 60s or early 70s.
Well, surely it'll be the latest. Have a look at your metal plaque, because I'm sure that had a date on it.
But it's hang on, I'm not entirely sure that's it might not be the first edition of when Gulf. It is next to me. Give me a second. No, there's no date on it.
Oh,
it just says
damn.
Just says Porsche 917. But yeah, that's when that was the original Gulf livery was on a Porsche. So I mean, it would make sense if Porsche are tying in with Porsche or Porsche. What are we saying here? Porsche.
Not Porsche.
Yeah. Porsche.
Yeah, I don't have a strong feeling either way.
We're gonna get tweets about this, aren't we?
Yeah, someone won't be happy.
Probably, yeah. The Germans will be very upset because I'm sure they pronounce it with a at the end of it.
It's the usual rule with German, isn't it? You pronounce every letter.
Pretty much, but yeah, usually. So yeah, it makes sense as to why people were thinking that if Gulf are going to go with Williams, or does that mean that Porsche are going to tie up with them as well? Because then you've got the Gulf Porsche. Obviously, that's a huge tie-up. And I can see why that might tempt somebody like James Vowles away from Mercedes if you got like the manufacturer as huge as Porsche saying they're going to put money into Williams, and they're bringing Gulf sponsorship with them as well. That could have been a big pull to get James Vowles out of Mercedes, because let's be honest, James Vowles kind of touted to take over from Toto when he eventually retires or leaves or sells, disappears.
Evolves into a state of pure energy.
Yes.
So I wonder if this implies then that Toto is particularly stable at the moment.
Yeah, I think it means that he's not going anywhere for at least another 4 years.
Yeah, I think he's sticking around for the long term. I mean, don't forget, he actually does own a third of the team.
He does, but it has been sort of on and off, hasn't it, the last few years, that it's been like, oh, he's going to go and somebody else is going to come in and he's just going to be a silent partner. There have been sort of the odd murmur.
You just can't imagine Toto being silent about anything.
No, I can't imagine the sort of sitting around not really doing much would suit him, but you never know.
While there's a Horner, he will fight him.
I suppose he's kind of got his own shit to worry about, hasn't he, at the minute, Toto?
What, like re-signing
Mercedes,
re-signing Lewis?
Yeah.
Does anyone know what's happening with that?
It's the constant Lewis contract fiasco, isn't it? Where
he signed up for 23, isn't he?
Yes.
He signed up for 23, but I believe they wanted to sort the extension out before the beginning of this season.
I think Lewis Hamilton probably wants to see if Mercedes can sort their car out before the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I think the other one must be as well. I mean, I know this will get poo-pooed by Lewis fans, but he probably wants to see what happens between him and George next year as well.
Yeah, maybe.
It's another year where like George fared well against Lewis in his first year at Mercedes.
Yep.
I mean, you would argue nobody. I know you had the Button beat Lewis over the course of a season. Nico obviously did. Him and Fernando ended equal on points. The interesting thing with all those people is that they were experienced Formula One drivers. So for George Russell, that's only been cutting about in a Williams, to come in and fare so well in Lewis's team against him, you've got to think with another year under his belt and all the learning he'd have done over the course of last year. It's that's my intrigue for the season, is how Mercedes stack up against each other.
I think it's down to Lewis hanging about with Tom Brady so much. Just the will he, won't he retire when he gets to a certain age? Because it's the NFL quarterback thing to do. I mean, for anyone that follows the NFL, it's obviously it's Aaron Rodgers' contract season again. And I saw him described as being right where he wants to be, which is in the news.
That's
I
fair.
like that.
I think with sort of top level athletes in any discipline, when they get to we'll say sort of mid-30s, there is always going to be that discussion of, has their time passed? Are they too old to carry on? And is it about time they hung up? And obviously, with the sort of improvements in sports science and general sort of keeping healthy, sports careers can last a lot longer these days. It's just people haven't actually caught up with the idea that you can extend your career for many years past the point where you'd normally quit. And I think all the speculation about Lewis, is he going to retire? Is this going to be his last season? I think it comes down to the fact that, I mean, he's just turned 38 last week, which 10 years ago you wouldn't have had an F1 driver at that age.
Oh.
There were few and far between. I think Mansell, Hill, that was about it.
Barrichello?
Who?
Barrichello.
Yeah, he was roughly about that age, wasn't he?
Yeah.
How
Schumacher came out of retirement when he was 41, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, his second stint obviously nowhere near as successful. It showed glimpses of brilliance, obviously. But just a quick one. I've just done a quick Google, as I have a Google machine in front of me. That's what I'm recording on as well. It was actually a Ford GT40, which is the first Gulf oil livery, but then they moved to Porsche in the early 70s. But yeah, so there is still that historical tie-up, but it wasn't the first one. It was Ford GT40s that were actually the first to carry the Gulf livery.
I can't see a Ford engine in Formula One for quite a few years to come yet.
No.
I'd like someone to explain to me what the what Formula One drivers are allowed to take in regards to supplements and sporting supplements, because
It's part of the World Anti-Doping
They are,
Organization,
yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah. So
WADA.
anything that's on the WADA approved list, they can have. I mean, obviously, with Lewis and his hair transplant, then he's got performance-enhancing drugs.
but so they'd be okay. They'd be okay with likes of TRT and stuff like that, then, wouldn't they?
If I knew what TRT was,
Testosterone replacement.
Maybe is it on the safe list for
Believe
athletes?
so. Yeah, I believe so.
This can be
Because I
easily Googled.
think I know it's not like a put out thing, but I'm almost convinced that's what the the likes of Cavendish's return to form would have been at the age years. You see athletes using testosterone now because you're essentially just sort of jacking your testosterone levels up, aren't you, to back to when you were in your sort of 20s, where you'd be in your peak physical fitness.
yeah, I don't think you can say though that I don't think you can sort of compare what cyclists take legally or illegally, to what any other athlete takes, because 90% of what cyclists take is to mask the things that they're not meant to be taking.
So
yeah, you're probably
TRT,
right.
TRT, you can only have if you have therapeutic use exemption, so you need a genuine medical reason to have it.
See, that's the thing. Everyone is at a certain age can get genuine medical thing because essentially we're all of us, probably not you, Sean, but on this podcast.
TRT is probably not gonna. Well, it probably
Yeah.
would help me, wouldn't it? But not in a sort of therapeutic use way.
Yeah, like we'll all have like relatively lower testosterone levels than we should have. So if we were athletes, we could absolutely get somebody to say, yeah, a bit of testosterone for him, it would do him the world of good, like medically.
This has gone down a very strange road.
No.
It's a
'cause
reasonable thing, though, isn't it? Because they do
Yeah.
get tested.
Yeah,
They
of course.
do have
Yeah.
to go through testing. You never really hear of anyone failing a test.
Yeah, I'm talking about just longevity of athletes. I mean, like you
Formula
see,
One drivers in general.
Yeah, but you see like the likes of Alonso when he's like doing his training regimes and stuff like that for what he posts up on Instagram, and you see that he's in incredible shape, and it's incredibly difficult for like to gain muscle and keep muscle after a certain point. So there is times where you see people that are in their 40s that are working out, and you go, you're looking a bit juicy there, Shaq. Looking a little bit juicy. And I don't. Again, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just as something to extend careers. Sports science has come on so far. It's kind of new rules.
I've got to say, Lee, this is a really intricate and convoluted way of coming out of the closet.
Yes, it is. But no, I'm just saying. Like, I think what we used to think of as far how long athletes' careers could go is kind of at a point now where we just don't know how far they can go.
I love you and I support you, Lee, in your decisions.
Juice me up.
One of the few examples I can find of someone having failed a drugs test in a racing situation in sort of recent times was Anthony Kumpen, aka Max Verstappen's cousin, who tested positive for amphetamines during a 24-hour race.
Right.
That will have been lively.
Didn't Santino Ferrucci fail a drugs test?
Oh yeah, did he? I think he got caught taking Adderall when he didn't have an exemption for it.
There is no mention of that on Wikipedia.
I mean, a lot of athletes, legally and illegally, do take Adderall, which is a drug given for ADHD, just so they can get extra focus.
Yeah.
Now I've got an iRacing 24-hour this weekend. I'm not going to. I mean, admittedly, the last 24-hour race that we did, I did my fastest laps of the event on gin, and I wouldn't recommend that for professional athletes either.
Or any type of driving.
No.
No, probably not. Virtual driving, fine, as long as you don't kill anyone. I would also like to personally apologise to Jeff Sharp for murdering him in the race last night. I forgot where the brake pedal was.
That's what happens if you have gin.
I didn't have gin last night. I was still sort of sweating out Saturday's whiskey. So, what other Formula One stuff have we got in this? I mean, you can't even call it the silly season anymore, can you? It's just the dull season.
It's the pre-season.
Yeah. So we got launch dates for every team except for, now I've got to be careful here, except for MoneyGram Haas is now their official name.
They're clearly just going to be called Haas.
Yeah, of course. And Alfa Romeo. I believe they're still Alfa Romeo. This is the last year of them being Alfa Romeo.
Yes.
So we've got, we don't know what the name of the car is yet. We think it's going to be the RB, whatever it's going to be. RB19, is it going to be?
Yes. I think
So 3rd of February, and they're launching in New York.
seems a bit
Don't know why.
extra.
Yeah, I don't know why Red Bull are doing that. Launching in New York on the 3rd of February. We don't know what the Williams car is going to be called yet. We can assume it's probably going to be a
FW.
or continuation of something. 6th of February, so only 3 days to wait from Red Bulls to Williams. AlphaTauri with the AT04 on the 11th, and then comes lots of things all at the same time.
Am I right in saying AlphaTauri also in New York?
Oh, I don't know, but they are just over a week after Red Bulls.
Yes, you are right. They are also in New York.
It seems
there
particularly
you
extra
go.
for AlphaTauri.
Yeah, it does. So then you've got Aston Martin with the AMR 23 on the 13th. McLaren, who haven't revealed what their car is going to be called. It's going to be called the MCL, isn't it? And then the consecutive number. Yeah, on the 13th of Feb. So two launches on the 13th. Valentine's Day for the Ferrari, 14th of February. And the rumor is at the moment that it's going to be called the Ferrari 675. So make of that what you will.
I might be being stupid here. I don't understand why that's what's special about it.
It just doesn't make sense because none of their numberings ever do.
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
They do seem to just pluck random numbers out of their arse.
Yeah, they're rarely consecutive.
Yeah, last year's was the F175 celebrating their 75th.
They've had the F90 in fairly recent order.
Yeah, before the 75. It was 90 years of Ferrari, wasn't it? And then 75 years of the racing team, I think.
Does that mean there's a possibility of the Ferrari 619?
Maybe, possibly. I hope so. Getting on Mexico. The W14, Mercedes reveal that on the 15th of Feb, the following day. And then Alpine on the 16th with the A523, which, yes, I have done my research, is a road that goes from Hazel Grove, south of Stockport, all the way down to Calton Moor in Staffordshire.
Fantastic.
I would have thought that Alpine would have been calling those the "Thank God He's Gone" again.
Maybe that's what the secret code is in that name.
So yeah, we're just waiting on Alfa Romeo and Haas. Haas launches have tended to be a little bit on the quiet side ever since the Williams story debacle.
It's usually a quick picture on an iPad, isn't it? And then oh, actually, here we are with an actual car on test day.
Yeah, I hope it's better than last year when everybody just sort of launched the spec model with their liveries on them. I mean, are we expecting any great changes to liveries? Red Bull's, let's be honest, it's going to be the same, isn't it? It has been for the last 7 years now.
They'll turn up to testing with something really, really cool, and then
they'll race in the same matte livery they've had for forever.
Yeah.
Ferrari's probably going to be red. Just put it out there.
Yeah. Alpine will be blue with bits of pink because they've still got BWT.
Yeah, we don't know about Williams.
Is the
Williams
wild
could
card.
could be the Gulf. AlphaTauri is pretty much going to be the same colours in some kind of respect. Aston Martin, we think, is probably going to be green, and McLaren, how much black is going to creep onto that papaya car, and Mercedes
depends how much the paint weighs again this year.
Yeah, and Mercedes, we think, is probably just going to be silver again, isn't it? With it's just going to apparently, according to Toto Wolff, and of course, so, take this with a pinch of salt. The W14 looks exactly the same as the W13 from the top. It's underneath. It's underneath where you won't be able to.
I did see a tweet.
See the differences.
I did see a tweet the other day from a friend of the pod, Scarbs, who we will get on before the season, and he was picking apart some of the way building the car photos that Mercedes have put out, and it does look like they're going for the zero side pod again this year.
Yeah, because of the way that they've the way the bodywork comes off of the cockpit looks like it scoops underneath, like last year's car.
I wouldn't be surprised with that because everyone said that it's going to have when they get it to work, it's going to have like a massive aero advantage. Yeah, so they've decided. It looks like they're going to stick with that philosophy because they were umming and ahhing, weren't they, towards the end of 22 as to whether or not they would stay with that philosophy or try and go down the philosophy of Ferrari, Red Bull, so higher side pods,
faster car, that kind of thing.
A lot of it was to do with quoting Scarbs again, and not to get too James May about it. It was trying to get as much downforce from underneath the floor, and that would have meant that they could have run. They know that without side pods, the rear tires create a lot of drag, but they thought they could dial that out using the rear wing, but because of the porpoising, they couldn't. And by the time they'd sorted that balance out, they were half a season behind everyone else in terms of tweaking and getting everything together. But they believe in this philosophy that they're going down. I don't know how true it was. I think it was James Vowles himself said in one of the debriefs that if they stick with this philosophy, by the time the rules get to 2024, 2025, the road that everybody else has gone down they'll hit a buffer, whereas Mercedes should be able to continue taking chunks of time off further down the road. But that could have all just been PR bluster. So.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I mean, we've got one test session this year in Bahrain, which is on the, where are we?
February the 23rd?
23rd to the 25th.
Yeah, so 3 days, one test.
I think I've seen that.
Yeah, I'm unsure about the single test thing. I mean, it did create quite a good, exciting season, didn't it, last year?
Yeah, I mean, don't forget, we didn't just have the one test last year. We had the shakedown.
Oh, yeah. I think they should. So is there a shakedown as well, or is it just one test?
It's just one test. It's just one 3-day session this year.
Yeah, unsure about that. Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, if anyone has got it badly wrong, they've not got a great deal of time to get it sorted out. But we know what we're going to see. There's going to be sandbagging. There's going to be bag sanding. There's going to be me working from home on the Thursday and Friday of that test week because I'll be working. It'll just be on in the background. If anyone from work's listening to this.
Well, is that the work will be on in the background, or Formula One?
Formula One will be on in the background. However, I'm just off to A&E because I think I've just shot myself in the foot. So, what else have we got this season? We have new drivers.
Well, hang on. We'll talk about teams and launches and things. Andretti Cadillac.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, why shouldn't that happen?
There is absolutely no reason why it shouldn't.
Because the purists appear to be weirdly angry about it.
Yeah. I've no problem with Andretti coming to Formula One, but I said the same as a lot of other people when I saw that they teamed up with GM and Cadillac was the brand that they decided to give them. I was like, there are other GM brands with a bit of racing pedigree that might go down a bit better globally. But they went with Cadillac, and I thought, yeah, but you don't associate Cadillac with like streamlined technology, Formula One, cool sort of cars. At least I don't, anyway.
But then that would be exactly the reason why they'd want to use it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. Other friend of the podcast, Virtual Statman, Sean Kelly, pointed out quite rightly that when Sauber bought Mercedes into Formula One in 1993, everyone went Mercedes. They make cars for old men. And have they got that image now? Is that the brand that you think of now when you think of Mercedes? No, it isn't. It really isn't. But that's how it was in '93 with Mercedes. So absolutely, why not bring Cadillac along?
All bets are off. One of the greatest Formula One teams now. What we would look at as one of the greatest Formula One teams in the history of the sport is a drinks manufacturer. So it doesn't matter anymore, does it?
And I do disagree with Toto Wolff being like, "Oh, what do they bring to the show?" It's like, what do you bring to the show, dickhead? Fucking because you're tall and you fucking talking in a strange accent. Right? Well done, everyone likes to listen to you. Maybe somebody wants something different.
I think there's something personal there.
Well, you could say that about anyone, couldn't you? You could say, what does Alpine bring to the show?
As a brand, I don't think Alpine bring anything as a brand.
Yeah, but they're in Formula One. Well, AlphaTauri's a clothing line. They've got Formula One teams. So why shouldn't Andretti, who's got race teams all over the world, Cadillac or GM, in fact, with using the Cadillac brand, who haven't ever entered Formula One, to the best of my knowledge, coming into Formula One, throwing resources. Yeah, they might have to buy an engine and rebadge it as their own to start with. What's the problem? Honestly, I don't see the problem. I would welcome Michael Andretti and Cadillac into Formula One as a team. Absolutely.
Looking at General Motors' other brands, current brands that they could have used, I think Cadillac's the best of the bunch. Because I mean, Chevrolet these days is small, compact budget cars.
Yeah, but Chevrolet have got as big. What's the only? Think of a Chevrolet car. One Chevrolet car.
A 58.
Or Corvette.
I think you probably meant to say Corvette.
Yeah. Corvette would have been my first answer. If you think of a Chevy, you think of a Corvette. That's I do anyway. Corvette, it's a sports car. What cars does Cadillac make?
The Men in Black cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, as I say, I'm not against it at all. I mean, it seemed an odd choice at first, but yeah, if they're throwing the money at it, let them choose whatever they want and bring it to Formula One. Absolutely, why not?
What I find weird is that we've only just come through a period of Formula One where they were trying to sort the engine rules out and stuff like that, just so they could get new manufacturers involved, so they could get new brands into the sport, and like basically bending over backwards to try and get VW, etc. in. Along comes Andretti with the Andretti name, and regardless if it hasn't got an racing history there, you know, there's another brand name there. That's you know, it's a global brand.
Yeah.
So you've got two entities there to come into Formula One, and Formula One just seems like it's trying to batten the windows shut, like there's an oncoming zombie horde approaching them.
It is, isn't it? Like we want new brands. Ooh, not non-European brands.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Who just went ping? That would have been me.
No, and Andretti was just like, you know, he wants an American driver as well. We all kind of want to see Colton Herta at Formula One, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, he's going to bring himself. All right, Michael Andretti is a driver in Formula One. We can forget that. But he's going to bring himself. He's going to bring Cadillac. He's going to bring Colton Herta with him, quite likely, to Formula One, and he wants to do this for 24. Is it 25? But regardless of when he wants to do it, he should be allowed to give it a go. Jesus Christ, we need to. I miss having 26 cars on the grid. 20 seems like too few to me. And then when we lost Manor and we didn't have Haas, we had 18. I was like, fuck me, this is getting, you know, really short of teams now.
Yeah, I think you're right. For some reason, I mean, even in my head, probably because I was so used to seeing it for so long, but like a 22-car grid is kind of always what I have in my head for Formula One.
Yeah, 26, I think, for me, usually for going back to like sort of the mid 2000s, early to the mid 90s.
Yeah.
And
it feels right.
The problem is with that many on the grid, though, you can't have the sort of 2 or 3 tier championship, because when we had the 26-car grid, we had HRT, Virgin, Manor, Marussia, whatever they were called that week, and Caterham Lotus, whatever they were called that week. Those 6 cars battling for the last 6 places.
No, I was thinking more about sort of early to mid 90s when Minardi, Simtech, 40, Pacific. Okay, they were shit teams, but they might have finished in the top 10, and the top 10 is points now, not the top 6. And so it seems ridiculous to me that the top half of the grid get the points.
Yeah, it also solves the problem of the drivers that we know. We know there's so many young drivers have just slipped through the net for Formula One that probably deserved a chance.
Yeah, Caterham, Marussia, and HRT. Just to go back to that point, they were not managed properly. They weren't given the right. What's it called? They weren't given the right.
Well, they came
support,
they came in thinking there was a
support,
budget cap, didn't they? They came in expecting a budget cap, and then we didn't get a budget cap until what? 7-10 years later, something like that.
Yeah,
2 years ago, effectively.
Pretty
Yeah.
much, yeah.
And even then, only for some teams.
Let it go.
No. I'm happy. I'm happy about it. I'm glad they cheated because I found it hilarious. I hope they cheat next year.
Yeah, we had 24 cars on the grid when we had those 3 teams then to hit HRT, Caterham, Lotus, whatever you want to call them, and Virgin as they were when they first entered the sport. Yeah, so there's 24 on the grid then, but yeah, 20. Let's try and find a year where they had 26. I'm sure like 1994, 93 maybe.
But then, I mean, you got teams that were going bust during the season.
Yeah, but there's like we were saying, the sport is not managed by Bernie Eccleston anymore. It's it's a lot fairer, and we see teams like, let's all be honest, when Haas first joined Formula One, we were all like, just another Marussia. No, absolutely not. They went in with a model of like, buying spares from Ferrari, buying parts in from off the shelf from other teams, and they made it work. They scored points in their first race, and it looked like that's the model to do it with. Okay, they're still towards the back, and they've had a few seasons where you're like, yeah, why are they competing? But so every team has that where they spend a couple of seasons at the back, and then they got to work their way forwards. It looks like Haas are doing that.
Yeah, because you're not getting the teams coming in like BAR did, saying we'll get pole and win our first race, and we won't have a Mechachrome engine in it, and then barely scraping onto the grid and a double DNF in their first race with Mechachrome engines. Thankfully, those days are gone. But why anyone thought it was a good idea to let Craig Pollock run a Formula One team, I have got absolutely no idea.
What's your Romanian man who kept trying to run a Formula One team?
Oh, Stefan F1.
That's it. Stefan F1, yes.
I think he's still circulating somewhere,
Is
isn't
he Romanian? I thought he was Croatian. Hang on.
Oh, is he? Oh, he was Romanian. My apologies. But yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at 1994. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 teams.
Zoran Stefanovic. That was the guy, or as Statman called him on one particular occasion. Oh God, him is he still going?
Yeah. So F1 never materialised, but no, we did have 14 teams in Formula One in 1994, and I think that's when the 107% rule was like
Oh, and he's Serbian, by the way, so we were both wrong.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, there are drivers here in these teams at the back that you'd recognise. Heinz Harald Frentzen, Gerhard Berger's in a Ferrari. Taki Inui, Bertrand Gachot.
We're not getting aside from Frentzen, we're not getting quality here.
Excuse me, Bertrand Gachot was the reason we ever saw Michael Schumacher in Formula One.
Well, it was Bertrand Gachot's Can of Mace, which is also the name of my new indie band.
Olivier Beretta was driving for LaRousse that year.
Badly.
Yeah, well, LaRousse was just a terrible car, wasn't it? But,
yeah.
But that was a good season of Formula One, apart from Imola. So, yeah, I have no problem with more and more teams coming to Formula One, and I don't see why anybody else would be like, oh no, we don't know what they're going to bring to the show. Like, well, why don't you let them in and see what they're going to bring to the show? Because you're not going to find out any other way, are you?
Yeah, give them a try. If they succeed, they succeed. If they fail, they fail. Although I think with it being the Andretti organisation, the chances of success are a lot more than, well, some Serbian guy who keeps falling out with F1 and engine manufacturers.
Didn't he turn up with a car that he bought from the previous year once at testing? And everyone was like, what are you doing?
I do not know that story.
Truck,
it sounds
didn't he?
amazing.
I'm sure he turned up with a truck with a car in it, which was a last season's car that he bought off of a team.
He turned up at the Bahrain Grand Prix. And also turned up at Portimao to do a 3-day test, but nobody would supply him with tyres.
Oh, no.
Because they'd have probably been fired from supplying tyres if they had.
And then Toyota wouldn't supply him with engines.
Again, probably a smart move on their part.
Yeah, it didn't go well.
He bought what would have been the 2010 Toyota.
Right, okay.
Engine.
And then he... Yeah.
And then was going to put it in the 2009 Toyota.
And then turned up I'm sure he turned up somewhere and was just like, hey, everybody, this is my team. It's just like, you've got one car and no drivers. And as it turns out, no tyres either.
Yep, turned up at a pre-season test in Portimao with 2 drivers, but this was cancelled as the team could not secure a tyre supply. Bridgestone would not supply F1 tyres to Stefan until the team acquired an entry.
Yeah, you got to enter. You can't just turn up.
And then Toyota backed out.
Yes.
Probably a smart move.
Yeah, no, oh god, apparently he tried to make a comeback in 2011, 2015 and 2019.
He knows when to give up, doesn't he, this guy?
The team signed Kazuki Nakajima, whose career had been supported by Toyota as its first driver. Stefanovic also hoped to sign Jacques Villeneuve and have Pastor Maldonado as its reserve driver.
Okay.
The words Pastor Maldonado and reserved have never been used in the same sentence.
I reserve judgment on Pastor Maldonado until he completes a race.
okay, fair enough.
So if we go on to the new drivers this season.
Yeah.
Few new names on the grid and one and a bit returning names.
Yeah, Oscar Piastri is already doing adverts for McLaren and their sponsors, I've noticed. A mobile phone holder that means you don't have to be on your phone whilst you're driving. Not that this is new technology. Hang on a second, I have a cat trying to climb onto my shoulder.
It's all right. Sean's got 2 cats having a fight next to each other.
Okay. Next to each other?
Next to her.
Oh, okay.
It's been a long day.
Jinx, what are you doing?
So, yes, Oscar Piastri, who had a monumental F2 championship winning season 2 years ago and a monumental contract battle last year.
Yes, which he won. I'm looking forward to that battle as well. Piastri and Norris, that's going to be quite an interesting one. And the McLaren is notoriously difficult to drive for some Formula One drivers. Sainz said he found it strange. Ricciardo obviously didn't get on very well with it. So let's see how young Oscar gets on, how quickly he can adapt. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, and then in the Williams, we've got Logan Sargent, who was chosen race number 2.
Because Stoffel's old number, wasn't it, at McLaren?
Yeah, because now that Stoffel's been gone over 3 years, it's available again.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, fair enough. And looking forward to seeing how Logan Sargent gets on at Williams as well. Is it a Gulf liveried Williams powered by Porsche? We don't know.
Well, it's going to be Mercedes powered by Porsche. I think that's going to be the sticking point because they've got a contract with Mercedes engines. And Mercedes aren't going to want to stick one of their main competitors' names on the car.
That is not just another brand, is it? In Mercedes world, that's
it's a rival, total rival. Yeah, Porsche's part of that Volkswagen group, isn't it? Whereas Mercedes are not.
You know that would be like Man City putting in a bid to sponsor Man United for a season on their shirts.
Yeah, it'd be a bit weird. Yeah. So Nick De Vries as well. We saw him for a race last year. He's in it. AlphaTauri.
I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. I mean, obviously, we've now got 2 Dutch motor racing world champions on the grid.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. The first and the second.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, the performance that he got out of the Williams when he subbed for Alex Albon and his appendix.
He looked decent.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential, and obviously the AlphaTauri was quicker than the Williams last year in a lot of cases. So if they carry that on into this season, you know, we could be seeing him trouble in the scorers quite a bit.
Yeah, I think so. Again, interesting to see. I know he's not he's not. When we say young driver, he's older than Tsunoda, isn't he, by quite a bit? But
I think he's about 27, 28.
Yeah,
something like that. So it'd be interesting to see how he gets on against Yuki, because I know Yuki is sort of like the team's little, pet project almost.
He'll be 28 by the time the season
There
starts.
you go. Did I see somewhere as well that is the shortest driver lineup in F1 history?
Yeah, it might well be. Yeah, combined height. Yeah. To be fair, I mean, if I was partnering Yuki Tsunoda, average height probably would still be one of the shortest, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, this is about 3/4 of a Toto.
Yeah. Given the fact that Nico Hulkenberg's back, I've got a driver who I would be able to look eye to eye at.
Yeah, I mean, the Hulkerang returns again.
Yeah, super sub Hulkenberg, but not subbing this time.
Well, I don't know. If he catches COVID this season, then he's going to have to replace himself.
Oh God!
Race yourself before you replace yourself.
Yeah, I mean, Hulk, he's been done for years. And he's still there. Is he going to get that podium one of these days? No.
Probably not.
Probably not in a Haas.
No.
I mean, you never know. Crazy wet Monaco, everyone crashes at turn 1. Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, if he does, that's instant rock star.
Well, he could break the record. He's one of the people who could break the record this year. If he scores a podium, he will break the record of the longest run between for races, but without a podium.
Haas are definitely a team that they've really got to do something soon, haven't they?
Well, they started creeping forward. I mean, forget the year where it was Schumacher and the other dude, Russian guy.
Yeah, this is the car they had after sacking years of development, isn't it? They had a terrible year to build this car, which was a bit of a non-event.
Well, no, it's done all right. It's done okay. I mean, it's not a race winner, but it's much further up the grid than they've been since the early days of probably before Rich Energy.
Maybe I expected too much. I expected them to be sort of sniffing around the top of the midfield again, like they were.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
they finished best of the rest of the rest.
Yeah.
What a
K-Mag
trophy.
K-Mag and Hulkenberg as teammates as well. Both of them have said it's not a big issue. They just get on with it because they're pros. It's just a polite way of saying I don't fucking like him, but I've got to do what I've got to do, isn't it? I think.
Pretty much. Yeah, I mean, the problem was, of course, when it was K-Mag and Grosjean, the number of times that they came together.
Mm-hmm.
If that happens this season, then
It's K-Mag.
then next year's Haas episode of Drive to Survive
Oh, it will
be
be
the
spectacular.
best one ever.
I don't think there'll be any drama. I don't think there'll be drama between them.
I mean, have
I think when you-
they put the "suck my balls, honey" or whatever it was behind them?
Apparently,
I think
yes.
so, yeah.
Okay.
But when you got Gunter Steiner as your team manager, have you got a choice? The drama might just appear.
It will walk in and fox slam the door on its way through.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's got
Who
his book
we
out
picking
soon, hasn't he,
for-
Gunter?
Has he?
He's got a book out imminently.
I will buy that book.
Oh God, will I buy that one? I am buying the hell out of that book.
Who are we picking for scoring more points out of the pair of them?
Ooh.
Yeah, over the course
Good
of the
point.
year.
Yeah.
gosh,
I'm going to say
tricky.
K-Mag to start with, but
I
could
think
very well be
Hulkenberg.
wrong.
I know what you mean. I think K-Mag will have the higher finish, but I don't know that. I think maybe Hulk might be more consistent.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
Lee in
Yeah,
seventh
that's a
and
good
run
shout.
fifth at some point of every race.
Yeah. Well, you see, this is the thing. I think I know we could go back to the Force India thing, where Pacheco got podiums and he still didn't get a podium, in that point. But I don't. Someone would have to go back and look for this because I really can't be bothered to back up my statements with facts.
We've
But I'm-
noticed. Don't take it
Yeah.
personally, but we have
What
noticed.
statement are you making? And I'll try.
I'm guessing that Checo podiums probably came with some sort of fuckery.
No.
No, was the one on pace?
The Italian Grand Prix 2012, I'm fairly sure Checo in a Sauber on pace ran out of laps to catch Lewis Hamilton
I meant when
for
he was
win.
I meant when they were in Force India.
Yeah, probably, because at that time you've got 2 Mercedes, 2 Ferraris, and probably 2 Red Bulls.
It was all in races where there had been shenanigans, but it just for some reason always happened to be Checo that was the one there. There was no point where Hulkenberg just happened to be on the right bit of tarmac.
Yeah, to be in the place. Yeah.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. I feel bad for him. I think he's one of those drivers that probably should have had more success than he's had, and it shows that because of how long he's been around. Just look at what's happened to Daniel Ricciardo after a couple of bad years at McLaren. If it's okay being in a car that can't get results and not getting results in that car, but even if you are Daniel Ricciardo, if you're in a car that can get results and you don't get results, you find yourself out of Formula One.
Yeah.
Fast.
Actually, one podium that Checo got in the Force India when there definitely wasn't fuckery was Baku 2016.
I don't know what happened then.
Fuck all.
He finished third. Kimi was fourth. Lewis was fifth.
That was the one where the support races were amazing. We're like, yeah, this is gonna be a race, and then it was literally just a procession.
Oh yeah. It was a bit boring, wasn't it?
Just looking at Sergio Perez's podium record here, 3 podiums in 2012 when he drove for Sauber. Obviously, he moved to McLaren then for 2013 and scored none. But then 14, 15, 16, he scored podiums for Force India. None in 2017. Then 18 for Force India. 2020, 2 for Racing Point, one of them being that win. And then 5 and 11 at Red Bull. So he's got 26 podiums in total, and 16 of them have come in the last 2 years.
It's because he's good on tyres, isn't it? If something goes down, he can make a slightly different strategy work.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously in the last year, being in the Red Bull has helped.
Yeah, Azerbaijan is his most successful circuit as well.
Mm-hmm.
He's had one win, 1 second, and 1 third.
It's because you get shenanigans, and you get a safety car, and suddenly just being able to do something a little bit different with tyres puts him in a different place to everyone else.
Yeah. So he's that driver though, isn't he? As you said before, when not so much now he's at Red Bull because he's in one of the top teams.
Mm-hmm.
When he was in Racing Point, Force India, Sauber, when anybody else up front was having an issue or hit each other off the circuit, Perez was there to take their spot. And it took years for a big team to recognise that.
He was always there, or thereabouts, or ish.
Which is why I think he's a really good number 2 for Max Verstappen at Red Bull, because as soon as anything goes wrong with Max, Checo is literally right there. He's a great support driver for Max, and he's there to pick up points on the rare occasions when Max can't.
And that is a number 2.
Yes. Yeah, although he's never actually finished second in the championship, so we'll just...
We'll move away from that.
So I mean, that's not a new pairing, I know, but there's so many. Fernando Alonso, Lance Stroll, Aston Martin. That's a new pairing. As is Pierre Gasly, Esteban Ocon at Alpine. Again, fireworks. I think.
I believe they
I don't know.
I believe they claim they've put their differences aside.
Which one, Alonso, Stroll, or
the Frenchman?
Oh. They grew up racing together and they've always crashed into each other.
Uh-huh.
And
someone crashed into someone else's girlfriend, I think, is the big issue.
Oh dear.
Uh-huh.
Yes. And of course, for the first time in a long time, no Sebastian Vettel on the grid.
Yeah.
No Vettel.
No
Schumacher.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first year without a Vettel or a Schumacher since
1991.
Yeah. Bloody hell.
This is Dave Schumacher letting the side down is what this is.
I think he turned out to be the Ralph of his generation.
Potentially.
No way.
I mean, I know we've just come off sort of one of the longest seasons ever, and we're going to coming into the longest season ever. It just seems like ages since the last race.
I'm kind of looking forward to it, but I know that by mid-season I'm going to be like, okay, here we go again. And don't get me wrong, I love it. That's why I do this. But at the same time, I'm really not sure we need as many Formula One races as we've got.
I want more.
It depends on the race, doesn't it? If it's the same sort of result every week, or it's not a good race, then it does get fatiguing. But if you're getting good races and it's competitive, then why not?
I think it was strange last year, considering how it was pretty much a done deal, reasonably early on into the championship, that Max was going to romp away with the World Championship. I thought last year was a really interesting year.
Yeah, I did, with the new regs and everything. And, I thought maybe Ferrari might mount a challenge. That faded away, about a third of the way into the season in real terms. But then, it was interesting. Watching how the different teams developed as well. It's not all about what happens on the track. It's all about what happens in the garage as well with development. And I think the development of teams where, Red Bull clearly made a few upgrades which put them well clear of everyone else. Mercedes got closer and probably were better than Ferrari by the end of the season, or at least level pegging with Ferrari. I just thought it was, some teams faded away. Like Haas started off really strongly and then sort of fell backwards a little bit. Same with McLaren. Started off, we got a little bit of a porpoising issue, and then just sort of went backwards. So, I'm really looking forward to this year, because everybody knows that the second year of regulations, everybody should have their shit together. And it should... Hello, Kat.
That was Dizzy.
Hello, Dizzy. We should really have closer racing, because it's the... as you say, everybody's got their shit together a bit more now. And things that people missed out first time round, they've probably picked up on now. And right, okay, we need to at least do something like this in our car for the second season. So it should bunch up a bit.
I think that the good thing about this year, if you look down the grid, I know it's always the thing of like every driver's should be judged against their teammate. Every team seems to have like the makings of a really hot inter-team battle. You've got with Max and Sergio, it's are they going to be able to get along after the end of last year? Is Ricciardo waiting in the wings to snaffle Perez's seat?
Of course, yeah. Danny Ricciardo, yeah.
Yeah, it's you've got Carlos Sainz that really, he kind of needs to turn up a bit more, doesn't he? I'm surprised that he, because of like the peaks and troughs, because obviously Charles Leclerc's quick, but because of the peaks and troughs that Leclerc has, I was surprised that Carlos wasn't sort of more on top of him than he was.
He just seemed to have such awful luck, didn't he? He just kept hitting things on the first lap.
Or catching fire.
Yeah.
Lewis and George, regardless of where that car is going to be, is fucking box office this year.
Yep, should be.
Pierre Gasly and Ocon probably hate each other, so that's handy. I mean, realistically, you've got like Oscar Piastri, who is when you're a rookie with a bidding war against you, and you sneak off to another team from under the nose of the team that owns you, you've got some hype there. Lando Norris should batter him, really, shouldn't he? Coming into McLaren, if Zhou can get, because I think Zhou might have Bottas this year. Just now they're sort of bedded in, and kind of if Bottas gets done by his teammate when he's supposed to be the senior guy in the team, that's Bottas's career over. Yeah. Obviously, Fernando and Stroll. Fernando's gonna destroy Lance Stroll, isn't he? Let's all be perfectly honest here.
Figuratively speaking, or in terms of racing? Because I think, figuratively speaking, he may actually destroy Lance Stroll.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I mean, Stroll tried to destroy him last year in Austin.
Yes, he did.
Magnus and Hulkenberg. It's just going to be interesting to see which one of those finishes. That's probably the most steady of the teams. The least amount of fireworks. And Nick De Vries is going to do Tsunoda, which is going to destroy Tsunoda's career. And I suppose Logan Sargent and Alex Albon's pretty average, isn't it? There's nothing there particularly exciting, but we
need to know how good that Williams is first, don't we? I think before. Yeah.
But just looking at the driver lineups, it just seems interesting.
It does, yeah, very much so.
And of course, another new thing for this season, we have our first Saturday night race.
Oh,
in Las Vegas.
Yes.
I'd forgotten that.
Yeah, I've just been reading it. This is the first Saturday race since the 1985 South African Grand Prix.
Right.
Was because of religious reasons, wasn't it?
I was going to say, was that a deliberate scheduling?
Probably was. So, at the moment, Nigel Mansell is the last driver to win a full points race on anything other than a Sunday. Thank you, Ed.
Interestingly,
thank you, Ed Straw, for that stat.
Because it's the second to last race of the season as well, before they go to Abu Dhabi, what is the possibility of a championship being decided on a Saturday?
That is wild, actually, yes. That's...
In Las Vegas.
It could happen.
Well,
Las Vegas
really
is the place
because,
to go for the odds.
Yeah, because like the last few races of the season, I'll start reeling them off after we leave the European portion of the season. Singapore, yeah, used to that. Japan, yeah. Qatar, and now that's been touted at the moment as a Lusail International Circuit, which is where they had the first one, but I thought they were going to go street circuit in Doha.
I think that's next year.
Okay. But then it's US Grand Prix, Mexico, Sao Paulo, Las Vegas, and then Abu Dhabi. So yeah, it's right in the mix of the end of the season there. Really strange to put it second to last race. It does mean 3 trips to the United States, obviously. And I have seen a little bit about, F1 wants to be green, yet they're flying literally the longest way possible around the Earth.
Now, from next season, everything is going to be grouped for the minimal amount of travelling. So,
which makes sense
It
because
does.
all the engineers get knackered.
So we're not going to have things like Baku to Miami to Italy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that makes 0 sense.
So it'd be like Asia, Europe, Americas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and of course, Canada is not on its usual date this year.
18th of June.
Yeah, that is a little later than normal.
That is a week later than normal. 'Cause it's normally senior race weekend.
It is.
It's because the Spanish Grand Prix is taking its place, and the Spanish Grand Prix is moved because the Miami Grand Prix is taking its place.
They could get rid of Miami for me. That is...
Well, yeah, but we said this about Baku after the first race at Baku, and then the second race at Baku was fucking awesome.
That is fair.
So maybe the second race at Miami will be amazing. I wasn't that taken with the circuit, I'm going to be honest.
Lewis Hamilton wasn't. He said that the chicane was like a B&Q car park.
I can't remember anything about it aside from the boats in water that wasn't water.
Yeah, it's not the best highlight.
No, if that's all I have to say about it, that doesn't sort of thrill me very much.
I think I got told expensive beers. I think.
I mean, that's a given at any track. I think, really, isn't it?
Drew, one of our regular listeners, he was there because, well, he's a Floridian, so he went and got fleeced. It's great, isn't it? You get rinsed outside the track, but nothing gets rinsed in the track.
Yes.
I am looking forward to Las Vegas, though.
I mean, we're gonna have it's on a Saturday night, so we're gonna have to watch it with beer.
It's just going to be a spectacle, isn't it?
It's Saturday night, Las Vegas time. Is that not really early Sunday morning for us?
Well, it's going to be sort of Saturday evening because it gets dark early. I think it's going to.
Wait, I think the Las Vegas race. I think it's scheduled to start like 11 p.m. Las Vegas time.
Oh God!
Which I think is like 5 a.m. our time.
Right. In that case, that's not going to be a massively late night. Then that's going to be a very early start.
Yeah, I might be very wrong, but I'm sure I read that somewhere.
Yeah, hang on.
The internet seems
So
to
is
think-
everything? I take it everything shifted a day forward then, as far as like practice and it's
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it'll be a.
It will be a 6 a.m. Sunday start.
So midnight in Las Vegas.
Sorry, need to do something about a cat very quickly. It's trying to.
So that's not a Saturday. Wait,
It's a Saturday for them because they're like, are they like 10 hours behind? Pretty
8.
much 8 hours
No.
behind.
Oh, are they 8? Are they? I thought
So
it was
that's
6.
10
Okay.
o'clock on a Saturday night for them.
I'm just gonna disappear for a second. Talk amongst yourselves. Somebody say something.
I'm reading the calendar. Bear with me. I'm doing maths. That's why it's gone quiet. Trying to do maths. So yeah, that's 10 p.m. Saturday night
If by magic,
local
the
time
shopkeeper appeared.
is 6. Fuck me. That's 2 6 a.m. ones back to back. That can fuck right off. Why is no? That's a typo on the Sky website. Why would Brazil be at 6 a.m.?
I prefer early races. I think
I mean, it gives you your Sunday back.
it
Yeah,
gives you Sunday.
I
but
get
think
up at
there's something
5 a.m.
cool.
during the week. I don't need to see it
Well,
at
I
the
don't-
weekend.
Okay, That's fair. I get up at 6 every day. So
I'm in
you've
work
you've
by
got
then.
An hour on. Yeah, that's fair.
Do you know what's
But,
really weird? What's really weird is the Miami Grand Prix starts at 8:30.
Yeah, that is weird. Half past the hour.
Yeah,
Not sure about
not on
that.
the hour. 1/2 the hour.
Do
everything
we
else
think
is
that
on
will
the
be
hour.
to avoid clashing with other sports
India
in
was
the
like
same
that as well.
market?
If I remember rightly, India was like that. That
India,
race
I
started.
think,
no,
genuinely
'cause-
does have a time zone that's half an hour, doesn't it? So I think it would have
Yeah.
been on the hour local time.
Yeah, but it was like on the half hour for us.
Whereas I think Miami's just being
Qu-
odd.
quirky. Mm-hmm. I mean, don't forget, world's worst superhero, Florida Man.
Surely it's California, man.
Here's something. At some point, are we ever going to have Will Smith singing "Welcome to Miami"?
No.
Is anyone
Ray.
booking Will Smith
No.
at the moment? Is he not still banned?
No. I'm sure he's cancelled, isn't he, Will Smith?
Look, he can always. There's always a redemption arc.
I mean, there's written proof that the slap on Chris Rock wasn't actually staged. His son wasn't cast in it.
That's brilliant. Oh, is that yours or is that somebody else's joke?
That's somebody else's, I'm afraid.
Oh.
I would love to take the credit for that, but unfortunately, no. That is stolen. I think from the Pop Bitch newsletter. I'm not can't entirely remember, but I saw it rather than thought it.
That's good.
So one thing that I do need to promise is we will be a lot more regular this season.
Yes.
We will stop
Well,
getting.
depending on when I eat.
We've got to be perfectly honest. We've got to do it now because it's our civic duty. Given what the fuck has happened to WTF1,
Well, yeah, they've got rid of everyone.
yeah, well, no, did you not? Has nobody else here? Did nobody else watch the video?
No.
No.
I don't care enough.
This is the thing,
I don't
I've never
think,
listened
sorry.
to their
Oh my
podcast,
word.
so I wasn't really
Right.
interested.
I mean,
No,
are they
that is-
going on to the guys who left? Are they going on to like other Formula One things, or is it just like?
But
I think so.
Matt Gallagher says he is.
'Cause they've been
I'm
bought
gonna
by the
guess-
people who run the race, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna see. The race podcast I like, but so I take it must be like their parent company. So the new crew, there was a video popped out, and I'm almost convinced that it came under such wide fucking scrutiny from the from their fans, and like people were recording videos of themselves unsubscribing to WTF1 and posting it on Twitter. You had the first guy that joined was all in Aston Martin gear, and then quirkily sort of with a grin, like, yeah, well, I'm a Lance Stroll fan, and almost like paused for like shock and gasp. The two of the people said they didn't like Formula One until recently. It was like diabolical. Like it made me a Matt Gallagher fan.
Jesus.
I suddenly appreciated that man for what he was, and what he is none of them.
Yeah, I've got to admit, I avoided the video. I mean, I've never paid much attention to WTF1 in the first place.
No, only for lols.
But yeah, it is our civic duty, and it's also, and this is where we're going to start to feel, this is going to be our 9th season.
It's
many.
Wild.
I mean, remember at the start? Oh, we'll give this 6 months and see how it goes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Season number 9.
Yeah, so we now have listeners all around the world.
Wait. Let's do it. Let's do that thing. How many countries do we get listened to in? Do you think? Like, how many people? Like, do you think you're the only person in your country who's listening to us right now?
Alex, if you're listening to this, yes, you probably are the only person in Jersey that does.
At 3 Legs 4 Wheels on Twitter, hashtag with whatever country you're listening to us in.
Now, I do get a list of countries where the show gets downloaded, so I'll be able to check.
But then, if we get them to interact, we know they're listening.
That is very true. So yeah, we're now listening
live marketing, ladies and gentlemen.
We're now listening to around the world. We've got our own sim racing team, also around the world, and we even got taken seriously as proper journalists and invited to a car launch.
Need to try and do something more like that, I think.
Well, if the team start doing car launches for the press again, rather than standing on a bridge in New York and streaming it on Twitch.
Well, yeah. Also, the illness that was a thing a few years ago didn't help.
Not greatly. I mean, that did put a couple of curbs on, say, leaving the house.
Yes.
Talking of Twitch, we do have a Twitch stream set up for some of the sim racing that I do under the 3 Legs 4 Wheels banner, and just a quick plug, I'm taking part with the 3 Legs 4 Wheels team, which is also named Only Fools and Horsepower. Anybody?
Which one of you is Del Boy?
But yeah, the 3 Legs 4 Wheels, Only Fools and Horsepower team are taking part in the Daytona 24 on iRacing this weekend. So if you go to Twitch and search for 3 Legs 4 Wheels, I think our URL is actually twitch.com/3 Legs 4 Wheels. From 12 o'clock UK time on Saturday, you'll be able to see how we get on and make an absolute mockery of my driving. Because I'll be making a mockery of the entire race.
You must be getting there with you. You've been doing so much sim racing, though. You must be like getting to a pretty like respectable level. Like,
oh, I am. I'm not as bad as I used to be. If I can just take this opportunity to personally
apart from the fact that you killed Jeff Sharp.
I was going to say, if I can take this opportunity to personally apologise to Jeff Sharp for doing 145 miles an hour before I hit the brakes 10 feet away from the back of him when he was stopped last night. And
you were committed.
Why was he stopped, though? That doesn't seem like what you're meant to be doing.
Because somebody else had crashed in front of him. And I kind of turned his Lamborghini into a hatchback.
So did you ignore yellow flags?
I might have done.
God damn it. Poor nickel crash.
Just quickly, while we're talking about video games, if anyone's interested, I now do a weekly live YouTube podcast called System, which it's like just a video game hangout with Ollie from Alien Addict, where we just talk about video games. So you can follow that on Twitter at The System Show, or go and find it on YouTube.
Did you say system?
Yeah.
So I heard cistern the first time around, like the
no,
like the
it's not about toilets. No, it's system.
I was like, that's an odd name for it.
Do you know what?
Namely, it's not about the bits of the toilets that make sure that the poo goes away.
I have seen Lee play some video games, and at some he is utterly toilet.
I only found out that the thing inside your toilet wasn't called a system about 6 months ago.
Don't you work in the sort of building and allied trades industry?
Yeah, but he's not a plumber.
No, he colours in for a living.
Yeah, basically, I'm just a glorified cleaner, really.
Oh, Power Wash Simulator, really cool game.
Yeah, it's amazing. No, it's so good.
Thing. I was so surprised that there wasn't already a YouTube channel called System.
Yeah, I would have thought that would have been
Yeah,
claimed.
it was a really good find.
Your
Very nice.
cease and desist letter is in the post.
Just want to give a few shout-outs to a few people that have been in touch over the last few months as well. Firstly, to Thomas Cowan. Thank you for sending us the book. Or is it Cowan? I've spent too much time over here. Thomas Cowan, not Cowan. He is an author who writes books on business, and he sent us a copy of his latest book, The Pillars of Leadership. Strategy workbook, a manual for leaders. According to him, it's an insomnia killer for life.
Oh.
So it comes highly recommended from the author. But thanks for sending that, Tom. I will have a leaf through that. And just want to give a shout out to a friend on Discord. If you want to join the Discord channel, we'll obviously stick the link up as well. But Neaton, you're doing great, mate. Just wanted to say that. And thank you to everyone who's been in touch with me when I got ill last year. And I am definitely on the mend now and feeling a hell of a lot better. And ready to do good things in 2023.
Excellent.
And Sim Race, which may not be on the good things list.
If you just said like, Neaton's okay, does that mean he's neat and tidy?
Oh, nice. I think we're about done for this week.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, does he have
That's
got
what they come
anything
for.
else worthy to contribute?
No, I think we're about there, and we'll resume doing the Patreon shows as well this year. And if you want to support us through Patreon, just go to patreon.com/3legs4wheels, and you can pledge anything from one of your local currency units. Well, now that
One world credit.
Unless you live in Japan.
Yeah. Do a few more than one. And you get access to the show early for shows where we've got sponsors. We remove all the ads for you, and we'll do more of our Patreon shows. The sort of backstage look at how weird life is on the Isle of Man.
Do you like cold open podcasts?
Oh, you can't beat 'em. I mean,
you should sign up for Patreon.
Yeah, I mean, if we start at the start of a sentence, we're doing well.
Yeah, it's usually mid-sentence.
Mid-sentence,
isn't it? Or
mid-train
does
of
it
thought.
record?
Yeah, it's just all right. I'll hit record. This sounds like it could be interesting and go anywhere.
Have you noticed, though, a lot of podcasts do that now? They're cold open for like 30 minutes and they're like, oh, hello there, welcome to the shit show. So, hang on a second. What do you mean hello and welcome to I've been listening to you for half an hour talk about what you got your granny for Christmas.
No, they only say welcome to the shit show on Siston.
Yes.
Ah,
Yes.
that works. That's good.
Nobody's tried to throw anything at me for me jokes tonight. New year, new me. No.
Far away.
Like, hey, you were genuinely hilarious before. This is new.
It won't last. You know, we're only halfway through January. I've got to keep this up for another, 11 and a half months? It is not going to last. Well, it's not going to last until February, let's face it. I'll be dull before the pancakes. On that note, if you want to get in touch, email 3legs4wheels@gmail.com, at 3legs4wheels on the socials, and individually on Twitter we are...
At Sean Cowper.
At Flood21.
At Must See Audio now. I changed my
Yeah, you
Twitter
did.
name.
Oh, yes, you did, didn't you?
Yeah.
And at Pablo100. Right, we will go and try and find some content for next week, but we will be back, and that is a threat, not a promise. Until then, we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Slayers.
Bye.
Bye.